general, I haven't seen any of Game of Thrones yet, but like I know the general consensus is that the ending is shit. But Lawrence, having gone through it, knowing about it, apparently, when you go through knowing how it's going to end, it doesn't come out of nowhere. It's set up well, apparently.
The word apparently is very apt. I feel like it comes out of nowhere quite drastically. There's an attempt to set it up, but it's the most, in my opinion, loose attempt.
There's seeds planted throughout the entire thing.
You know what? A seed doesn't instantly become a tree.
They say from the get-go the Targaryen nature is what that is.
But that's one-dimensional.
She's the chosen one to bring darkness to the universe. Anakin turned on a whim.
Anakin's turn to the dark side is kind of shit. I ain't even capping, bro. If you don't watch any extended material and you just watch the films, it's shit. My boy cutting off Mace Windu's arm out of nowhere. Nah, bro. Get out of here.
Yeah, but he was desperate.
Mr. Oh, are you a Jedi? Is that the lightsaber? A Jedi doesn't die.
It's less good without Clone Wars because Clone Wars, going back to it retrospectively, sets up Anakin's fall much better than the films can do alone. But I wouldn't go as far to say that his turn is shit by any means. I think that it's handled well enough, and like the full 180 in the context of what actually happens makes sense because it's a split-second decision to disarm Mace Windu, literally, and save Palpatine. And after that, there's no going back.
So my boy just goes and butchers a load of kids.
Well, he's stuck, isn't he? Like,
guys,
other choice.
I know we're all fans of Star Wars, but come on. You're telling me, okay, I agree with that. Split-second decision, he's got to disarm the guy, killing the guy that can save his wife. And then gets knighted, Darth Vader, and goes and butchers a load of kids.
That Anakin has been indoctrinated to believe that there is a Jedi conspiracy. As Palpatine says,
I believe you are the only Jedi with no knowledge of this plot.
That insinuates that every single other person...
These are a couple lies. These are a couple lies. If someone came to me, Trump is the best fucking president ever. Okay, that is a statement, right? Am I going to believe it? No. Because you need more,
you also have to appreciate Anakin's psychological state in the moment. He's had a bad week. You know, the Jedi
I've had a bad week. I don't go commit genocide.
Well, it's not like that, though. He's stuck between. He's a political pawn. He's stuck between the government and the people who raised him.
I never read Anakin fully buying the whole conspiracy aspect. I think at that point he's just kind of going along because there's nothing else he can really do at that point. Between him and Palpatine, he's essentially murdered Mace Windu. There's no coming back from that. At that point, I think he just like smiles and nods at the whole Jedi conspiracy thing, just because there's no going back.
Yeah, he's so mentally broken at that point that there is no other alternative. You know, he's done one dark deed.
I know what you are saying makes sense if we're talking about, like, there is so much setup for this guy being the most evil man in the universe. We have one episode. Episode 2, he goes and kills a bunch of Tusken Raiders. Okay. But that's pretty much it. Sleeps with Padme a lot, has a kid, and I'm going to go butcher a load of kids.
Well, I mean, he has killed kids before.
Human kids.
Tuskens are not a race, they are a culture.
Okay, fine. I completely respect that. Good argument. Younglings. Goes and kills all of them, leads an entire revolt, then goes to Mustafar and tries to kill his own master.
You don't understand how the dark side works.
That is weak ass fucking.
Once you start down that dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. Consume you it will.
The logic of why he doesn't hold back at all is because he was, at this point, he's been told that
only then will you be strong enough with the dark side to save Padme.
Your ability to use the dark side is tied to the amount of hatred and essentially fucked up shit you have in your head. So he really didn't want to kill kids, but inflicting that trauma upon himself was in an effort to make himself powerful enough to save his wife.
Then there's that moment on Mustafar when he's on the balcony overlooking the lava and he's crying because he's mourning the good person that Anakin was, that he's had to sacrifice in order to become more powerful in the dark side on a vain attempt to preserve his own selfish needs.
And to be honest, Anakin was always unstable throughout the Clone Wars.
He grew up a slave. You imagine what that does to your psyche.
Well, he didn't do much, because when fucking Qui-Gon found him, he's the happiest kid on the world. What do you mean what it did to his psyche? No. On
the outside, if you have depression on the outside...
Here we go. Oh my... You are attaching beliefs to a character that did not display this. He was the happiest. He was like, Jar Jar,
he has multiple personality disorder, Bradley.
You're literally putting beliefs into a character that did not display it. So your theory that it was justified makes sense.
So anyway, Thrawn is blue and his eyes are red.
Star Wars community, back me up here. Explain, theory, everybody.
You know what the funny thing is? Anthony and Dan really think we are having an argument.
No,
you're not. No, we're not saying you're having an argument. We're just finding it unbearable either way.
So anyway, this action figure is about as tall as Ray Park.
No, I will not be denied this victory over this insipid, insistent, irrelevant, irregular.
All right, so just to be clear, it is a shoddily performed turn in the context of when they first brought the film out. There is precedent for it in the film, but it's still jarring in the films alone. In the expanded material, you get a lot more context for Anakin's mental state leading up to things. I don't think he buys Palpatine's bullshit word for word. He's just, for him, there's no going back. And the whole thing of him killing the younglings is specifically because it's such an atrocious thing to do from where he's standing. It's the only thing that if he does it, then he might be able to say not only his wife, but his unborn child. And at the end of the day, if you are forced to choose between your own kid and a bunch of other kids, you're going to pick your own kid every time.
So let's talk about Anakin's fall within the context of the films alone, using literary writings about the conventions of the hero's journey. The transformations that Anakin experiences go to great lengths in distinguishing what type of person as a whole he is. His first transformation leads him to Joseph Campbell's Road of Trials, where he encounters a figure that completely defines him, Padme. In their first encounter, Anakin is besotted with her, enthralled so much that he dubs her an angel. Yet their relationship remains largely platonic. It's only when he ages and travels through puberty that his fascination with her becomes sexually charged. So great is her beauty and her kindness that his love for her becomes so powerful. When studying the female within his hero's journey concept, Campbell argues that she can never be greater than himself, though she can always promise more than he is yet capable of comprehending. To Anakin, she represents the promise of love and attachment. Padme does indeed promise something that Anakin cannot comprehend: children. Due to Jedi doctrine, relationships are forbidden, and so are children by extension, so naturally this is something that has never occurred to Anakin as a possibility. In Campbell's mind, the figure of a woman is a trap to lead the hero astray. Padme fits this idea as well, for in her action of promising Anakin a child, visions of her death plague him day and night. Thus, in an effort to save her life, Anakin makes a deal with the devil and follows the path of villainy. It is Padme's existence that causes Anakin to lose his way with the Jedi path. She is the temptation of a normal life. It is that temptation that leads directly to the other temptation of absolute power, in this case, the ability to hold back death. To this end, she is a tool for Palpatine to use to sway Anakin's allegiance to the Sith. Now, as Vader, Padme is another sort of temptation for the fallen hero, that of redemption and light. Still, that spark of Anakin resides within Vader, represented physically by Padme. Vader tells himself that his actions are to serve the initial temptation that she bore, yet in reality his turn to darkness becomes so warped that he seeks to invest his own well-being through power. With Padme representing Anakin, the light and ultimately weakness, Darth Vader resists her temptations when he chokes her on Mustafar, and ultimately resists she who would have prevented the continuation of his journey. It is clear how Anakin's journey is a tragedy. He lives a noble life as a Jedi Knight, yet for all his power in the Force, he cannot acquire the power to hold back death, which is something that haunts him following his mother's passing. This frustration, ranging from within himself, is amplified when he perceives visions of his wife's impending demise. Then Palpatine and the dark side whisper secrets of an ancient Sith's power to hold back death, and Anakin is instantly enthralled by such a power. Thus, he commits to the dark path with noble intentions. Yet the dark side is akin to a drug. As Yoda says to Luke, it is easier, more seductive. Anakin does indeed become stronger in the Force, and he is thus permitted to fully open himself to the full extremities of what the Force can offer, but through this wellspring of power comes arrogance, which twists his mind and his desires into something less than honourable. To quote Skywalker, a family at war, the tragedy of Anakin was not that he was a powerful Jedi who fell to ruin, but that he was a mere mortal, afraid to live, afraid to love, and afraid of death, who believed himself above these frailties and was deceived by a lie. Palpatine had exploited Anakin's weakness with deft skill. He spoke to Anakin's deepest desires, while Jedi teachings merely ordered that he repress and somehow move beyond them. It was not enough for Anakin to claim allegiance to the darkness. His next actions had to be so despicable that they would erase all the good he had done during his years as a Jedi Knight. Palpatine easily convinced Anakin that he had witnessed Mace Windu's attempts to assassinate the Chancellor with his own eyes, instead of being an accomplice to the murder of a Jedi Master. Palpatine told his new pupil that he feared the Jedi, in their quest for domination, would kill anyone who stood in their way, including himself, Anakin, and the members of the Senate. Anakin was so broken that he did not even protest for a moment. His new master sent him to eliminate all who remained in the Jedi Temple. Anakin instantly obeyed, and to support Dan's argument, by cutting down the younglings, Anakin wasn't just slaughtering the future of the Jedi, he was excising the last shreds of his own innocence. Each slice of his lightsaber seemed a sacrifice, so that his child might live. To make sense of Anakin's fall, you have to appreciate the deeper themes running under the surface. While it doesn't characterize Anakin's internal conflict as elegantly as it could have, it is still plainly there, and it is executed rather beautifully when you stop to consider all of the contributing factors in the films alone that leads to his fall from grace.